Hello, a long time and no see. Welcome to another segment of bullet journaling for Dungeons and Dragons. I returned today to go through my setup for a new DM journal, giving you some ideas, some inspirations, and some steps to follow to ensure that you have a cool DM journal. Honestly, I've kind of forgotten what it's like to record, so please bear with me as I sound a little bit awkward and strange. I'm trying my best. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll show you what I've been working on. So, I bought this beautiful Archer and Olive journal. I just wanted to splurge, be a little bit fancy. I don't usually buy too many expensive fancy things for my journals. I have like 2 Tombow pens and a bunch of fine liners that I've had for like 5 years. I journal with very basic supplies. I use highlighters for a lot of my coloring. I am just incredibly basic with my stuff because supplies are expensive. So I splurged a little to buy this one. Very nice, very good. I'll give you a bit of a squiz. It has this beautiful nature design on the front, which I figured would go perfectly with the campaign I'm writing for. If you look on the side, the pattern continues. It's got this cute little elastic belly band on the back as well. And the Archer and Olive little symbol on the bottom. But yeah, without too much else to really get into, I suppose let's look into it. There are some things in this journal that are currently unfinished, but I do think that that's part of the joy of this kind of thing. You fill it in as you go along, and you'll see exactly what I mean as soon as we turn the page. So first up would be the space for your title page. So you can see mine is currently blank. Did write my name and my title in the front there for the book belongs to section, but I wanted to leave this blank because I feel like it's, for me personally, the best part about filling out this journal will be actually returning to this page and kind of giving a snapshot of what it ended up being. I want this journal to be something that I can remember and I can look at in my bookshelf and open it up again and have an idea of the adventures that we went on together and have that encapsulated in some kind of image at the front. So basically, this spot stays blank until we've gotten significantly further in the campaign than what we already have. Maybe I'll commission some art or something cute like that, I don't know. But yes, this is for the book club campaign. I actually stream, I don't know if you knew that. I stream Dungeons and Dragons on the Wisdom Saves channel. I am the Dungeon Master on Tuesday nights for the book club campaign. We are running the second edition, a relaunch of our old campaign with new players, cool peeps, but just, I'm running it still. It's very exciting, very fun. If it's something you want to check out, all of the links to that will be in the description below. Alright, so there's not a lot to show here, so let's go on. Here, I have a list of each of our players. Starting off with me, the Dungeon Master. I don't currently have a color, mainly because I don't actually have a highlighter and a different kind of color, so we can leave that for the moment. There aren't a lot of notes that I'll need that will have specifically Dungeon Master ones related to it. It's more for the players. But next up we have Terra, played by Friendo Boy, who's in a nice highlighter green. Friend by Cat Roulette, who is in an orange. G by Maleficent, who's in a blue. And you can see as we go down, Elodia is a purple, Temmie is a pink, and Attenborough is a yellow. I did this cute design on the side too, that I thought was nice little homage to the front of the cover. It's just using plain pastel highlighters, nothing too special. But I think it turned out really nice, and that's the important thing, I guess. This is also being left a space here or here, depending, for the key. That will be a future video, the actual key that I use for my Dungeon Master journal, just because it's all a work in progress. I find that I add little symbols as I kind of start writing notes and things. I have a basic set that I use, which is very similar to the one that I use as a player, but there are just a few extras for a Dungeon Master, so it just will sit here once I've properly gone through maybe 1 or 2 episodes in this journal, and I'll leave a little space to add to it as well. Because it'll constantly change and evolve as you go through. But yeah, this setup was really simple to do, but I feel like it looks excellent. Alright. Here is the index. Don't get freaked out by the amount of pages. I just had a lot of pre-campaign stuff to put in place, but that is essentially exactly what we're here for. This can work as a pre-campaign setup for anyone who is interested. You can also do it post-campaign, you can do it during the campaign, but essentially it's all before you've technically had that first episode. I continued that design up the top here, and I just did them with some really nice little highlighters still as well. I just used some little purple here for the shadows and did lots of bright colours. It was really fun, honestly. I had the best time. Who needs fancy pens when you can just use really cheap highlighters? But yeah, indexes fill out as normal. Just fill in each of the page numbers and keep going. I'll potentially go down here and then go on this side. I don't know. I think I messed up because I think I'm going to need this other section too. But once we get into episodes, they're going to take a lot more pages up. So I'm not too worried. I'm just a little worried, you know? But anyway, very simple design. Page numbers are starting on the bottom as well, just to make sure that that's all filled in. Then we move on to the next bit. This has the title of our campaign, which you might not have for a while, but we do. Or more so the title of the party. The party is called the Book Club, and the Book Club is the name of the campaign too. So they both work hand in hand. Yours might not be like that. You might have a different campaign name to what you do at the front, but that's okay. The first page though is just a bit of a brief on what to expect for the campaign. I had to write these up because Wisdom Saves is streamed, so I wrote them up for some social media content, but it can be a good excuse for you as the DM to really think about what your campaign is trying to solve. What is your campaign's little brief? If you had to talk about it in a few sentences, what exactly would it look like? And it can be a really good exercise for you. Something nice to jot down in your journal. Next up, I had just some sample decorations, which is just me basically scribbling, testing out some pens, making sure everything looks nice. You can see that some of them did go through. Even though this is the Archer and Olive book, it still does bleed. It's much less likely to, but I do have some very, very, very cheap markers that definitely bled through. Next up is a list of episodes. So this just lists the dates that we played each of our sessions. If you're streamed like us, very easy to find these out. But if you are someone who plays in person, they might be few and far between, so it can be nice to kind of work out when the last session was and how long it's been in between. I just did an alternating pattern here as well, nothing too special, just with a very simple, I think it was a cheap brush pen from Officeworks, the Australian stationery store. At least I think they're only in Australia. I actually don't know. I haven't heard of an Officeworks in anywhere else, so I don't know. We'll find out. I'll Google it later, perhaps. Alright, next up, I have a timeline. For me specifically, this is more of a year at a glance, but this is focusing on the last 4 months with the previous book club party. So we've included 3 new members into the book club, which is why we kind of decided to relaunch. So I had to kind of find a way to jot down different dates from previous adventures or backstory or things like that. If there were things that happened in the new characters' lives that happened on certain dates, I wanted to make sure I had all of that written down. So these are based on the dates or months that I choose to use for my campaign. These could be regular months, these can be entirely different. For example, Jum and Jove are my June and July, but August and September are the same. I also have done the same thing here, which would be for birthdays, where I've written in my dates. So most of them look pretty normal, except you have January, February, March, April, April. Yeah, I'm very imaginative there, I can assure you. May, Jum, Jove, or Jove, good old Jove. August, or Aug, Sep, Oct, Nov, and December. Yeah, all those. Very, very easy to put in there. I also have the little mushroom design at the bottom with their little halo. I thought that was so cute. I just was so proud of myself, and this was the first time that I got to actually try to properly use the markers. This was the first time that I got out those pastel highlighters and went ham. I also added a little bit of white spots to the top, which I feel like really kind of popped. it a little bit more as well. So you can see there's like the pink highlighter there and the orange, and then I just overlaid the purple on top, and it really gave it a nice little gradient there. You can see quite a lot of the streaks, but there's not much I can do about that. And there's some charm in that too, I think, as well. Alright, so next up, we move into characters. So for us, we're starting at level 11, so there's a few things I need to note down in terms of magical weapons and items and all that kind of thing. For example, we start off with Terra. I chose a kind of like natural plant theme for Terra, because Terra often has talked about the fact that once she retires, wants to kind of, have her own house and garden, and she does carpentry and all of this kind of thing. A very homesteading type feel to her once she's done with her adventuring days. I did try to do this oil slick design in the corner. I don't think it really turned out exactly the way that I wanted it to, but Terra's armor, the plate mail, is actually like an oil slick design on top, and I didn't quite get that through on there, but that's alright. So for the plants though, I just did the same thing. I coloured them in with the pastel highlighters and then added in some purple shadows there as well. I left the passives here just because I find passives are very important, especially when you're playing in a online campaign, meaning that you're talking over Discord. It can be a lot easier to kind of talk about people's passives if people are feeling like, they struggling to speak up or things like that. It can be really good to kind of be mindful of the fact that, hey, this person's going to spot this because they have a passive perception of like 26. Or this person won't necessarily spot this because they have a passive perception of 6. Who knows? They also wrote out a little few sentences on their characters, so I just included them in the book there as well. And I just did some lettering with just a calligraphy pen, one of those really cheap, like $2 ones that you get from any kind of stationery store. At least I'm assuming any kind anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much how that worked out. Terra's design too, and all of the stickers that I have in this book for each of the characters were actually designed by our creative director for Wisdom Saves, who's Kat Roulette, who plays Friend. Very, very talented artist. They are incredibly good at what they do. I wanted to turn each of their little artworks into some cute little stickers, and I think I did that quite well. So hopefully that will be all good. I don't know. Well, I know it'll be all good. It looks great. That's the important thing. Yeah, and I also left the class, the subclass, and then the level at the top left there, just to kind of get an idea of what's going on. Alright, then we move on to my possibly favourite page, purely because we have Friend, who is our Eldritch Abomination Warlock. Essentially, they are a character who is a piece of an Eldritch being. And it's very cool, very, very cool. I am into all kinds of things creepy and dark, and I want to make an Eldritch journal now. I want that in my life. So it's just, everything about this I just love. I did this eye design, this repeating eye design that was basically just scribbles in the top corners, added some darkness to the side here that I put a little bit of that darker brush pen underneath just to kind of give it a little bit of shadow. Don't know if it really shows up too much though. It's very dark. And I did this kind of like frantic kind of scroll for the text there as well. Included the passives too. We have the class and subclass again. And just the items that Friend has. Friend doesn't only currently has one attuned magical item, unlike Terra, who has 2. Though everyone has a lot of magic items, so it's fine, we all get there. But yes, this was possibly the favourite to make, I think also because it was just so freeing to just go ham on a page and know that that was the intention. Like, I love doing pages that are planned and precise and all of that kind of thing, but there's nothing better than just absolutely trying to destroy a page and make it look absolutely hecked on purpose. I think that's always good. Anyway, let's move on. All right, next up we have G. I probably disliked this one the most personally because I tried to do a lace design and it didn't really work out. So if anyone has ever actually done a lace design before, I would love to see it because I need some inspiration. I looked at this and I was like, this will look so good. This would be wonderful. And then the execution was not there. So I think I need to do some practice and I would love to see what you all come up with. So yeah, we did the calligraphy again for the name and a small little saying that G had as well. A couple of the characters have some little sayings and a little bit of text about her as well. She is our bard rogue, so she is a College of Glamour get this around the wrong way. She is a College of Glamour bard and a Way of Shadows rogue. So essentially it's a homebrewed class that is like the Way of Shadows monk, but it's very on brand for G. She has these magical tarot cards that she draws every morning, which are a homebrewed item just because Mel, the player, actually just thoroughly enjoys tarot, and so we wanted to implement that into the game. And so yeah, we made something cool. There is also the Cloak of Bats, which allows her to turn into a bat in the shadows, and then there is Boots of Flying that allow her to fly for 2 hours a day. I made no decisions whatsoever. She also has excellent stats, so possibly the only time that I am ever going to be able to impact her is if I try to drown her. That's really all I've got. I don't know any further. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Elodia's page I was in love with because I loved these jewels as well. And I really did like the plants on Terra's as well. I like the little effects that kind of add to the pages. I think they work really well. Next up we wrote Elodia in script and a little bit about her there as well. She has braces of defense, which is very cool, and also starts off one of the new characters for the book club too. So very, very exciting to have some new peeps who are all wonderful. So she is a Way of Shadows monk, level 11. Obviously you can imagine that her and G get along excessively well, so that's wonderful too. Alright, and these gems were pretty easy. I just kind of did a similar thing to what I did for the plants, where I did it in a base pink, added purple for shadows, and then I left some blank and added a little bit of the purple on top to give it a shadow, and then I added like a metallic around it. I feel like for the most part it turned out how I wanted it to. There was a little bit of white that I added in as a pen to the sides here. You can see it is just trying to make it shine. I'm mostly happy with it. I could be convinced to see however anyone else does gems if that is something that someone feels like showing me. Love to see that too. Temmie's comes up next. I tried my best. I love this. This was really cute. So I just wrote Temmie out, but with little stars in between. She has a very a very moon theme with her character. So I really wanted to implement something to do with stars on the moon. And I tried to draw a mountain here. It doesn't really look like a mountain. But hopefully there is the implication of mountain, which really comes through with it. Hopefully. If I keep saying it, maybe it'll happen. But she is a druid, circle of the moon. She has dragon scale armor as well, so that's very good for her. Very, very strong. And there's a cute little moon behind some clouds over here as well. The moon is particularly prevalent for her character design, so it's just very important to have implemented that. And yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy. But I don't know what I was thinking here. This is why you should always use references. Always. Whenever you try to do something, just always use a reference. But anyway. Next up we have Attenborough. Attenborough is also a Circle of the Moon druid and has a big tree theme in his backstory. So very important to have implemented that for us into this page. I tried to draw a tree, which I think it looks like a tree, which is very good. I think I made a mistake in adding the color, but honestly, I could probably pick all of these apart, these pages apart, and never truly be happy with any of them because you're always your own worst critic. So it's just, I'm always not going to be happy with it. That's just probably how it's going to turn out. But mostly, I think I liked this. I liked little leaves in the corner too. Thought they were nice. A little bit of text there about Attenborough as well. But yeah, our boy is wonderful. Little moustache man and our little cute cat. Very cute. Anyway, let's continue on. So, I will not show you the next few pages, but just know that in between here, actually I'm going to show you to an entirely empty page, just so that I can talk for a bit about this. So the reason I'm not showing you is actually because the content here is for the world's enemies, and kind of an idea of some of the main contenders for the campaign. I particularly have 3. You might not have as many, but I have 3, and that's mainly just in case they decide to pick one off early. So yeah, very important that I have that in there. And I've left some space for me to be able to populate that. I didn't want to run the risk of accidentally showing you any pertinent information, so it is empty for the moment. But I'll be filling that in for the first session. But yeah, it's just a space where you can do essentially exactly the same as what you did with the characters, but maybe adding a little bit more detail that's only pertinent to you, that only you know as the DM. I think that's a perfect place for it, and it really will help you to put into perspective kind of the bigger problems that the party faces. And hell, if you haven't worked out who that enemy is, maybe leave it blank for a while. Just leave it as a little spot for you to be able to add that later. Maybe with little details that you add along the way and that kind of thing, just to kind of make that work as best you can in whatever way is best for you. So next up, I have some more calendar stuff. This is more your general, proper bullet journaling stuff. This is just a list of important dates before the first day of Jove, which is the first day of July. So this would be a place for me to write anything that is very important to characters' backstory. I've went and included some of the details for things that have happened in the campaign. But this essentially is meant to be here to kind of decide things that are important as we go along. If a character reveals something in their backstory and I go, yeah, that's going to be really important to remember later, I can pop it in here. But here, these are all kind of static things that happened in the previous campaign, so we know that they will be important. Or at least we know that the party has gone through those things and therefore remembers them. I continued the leaf theme up the top here as well, and still continued to cover it in the same way. It's very simply just a month on a page. Nothing too special about that, but very simple and effective, I feel, in being able to capture all of the information that you need without making it too messy or busy by including too many pieces of information on one page. If you were to look at, say, the timeline page compared to this one, and trying to include all of this information on this page would be quite difficult. But this helps at least just kind of broaden it a little and allows you to add more detail into this page. So next up, we move on to August and September. I trialed filling in the back of this, and I still don't know how I feel about it. I'll have to decide later whether or not I truly like this or not. I don't know. Let me know what you think. That's the fun part about this kind of journal, is that it can constantly be filled in. So it's never truly done. And with any bullet journaling thing, it can do that as well. You can keep adding to things as much as you like, because it's yours and it has to serve you, and that's the important thing. Anyway, let's jump on next. So this was cool. I really liked this. So this was a map of the homebrew place that I have. And as you can see, I have some little, they call them Dutch door kind of deals. Okay, my cat is deciding to climb on the desk. Dude, please. Dude, please. Dude, please. Don't. You gotta get down, bud. You You need off. What are you doing? Hmm? What are you doing? Huh? You good? He wants to sit on my lap desperately. So, just gonna let him do that. Alright. You're gonna have a little bit of cat hair on the bottom of the thing, but that's fine. I'm gonna use this hand. Alright, so just talking a little bit about the map. So I have the name of the place. This is homebrewed, so this is just using Incarnate to design the world that I needed. And then I just added in all of the place names that are important along the way here as well. A little directional compass just to, get the idea of what direction you're looking. And yeah, just pretty basic map stuff. But I cut it like this for a reason, and I'll show you what that means. First up, I did spheres of influence. So for me, this was important because I needed to define exactly what places controlled what regions. So this is Adenigend, which is one of the large human cities. So I needed to know exactly how far their influence spread in the realms. So here, it encompasses all of these cities out here. Mineus being this smaller, but still large on its own, elven settlement over here, it only encompasses this one area. And Corwald, which is more the dwarven settlement over in the corner here, encompasses a few, but not nearly as many as Adenigend does. It was important for me to have that defined, and I feel like it just has a really cool look because you can directly be like, okay, these are the places. Okay, there's a little bit more information. And then I have the enemies. These are some places that the party has kind of found foul, troubling things along their way. In some ruins, in Arane, which again are some more ruins. We love ruins here. And a small grave over here, where they found very suspicious things occurring that definitely will be important for later. If any of my players are watching this, keep this in mind. There are more to add, but I did not give anything away for you today. I want to add some more designs here, but I haven't fully decided exactly what I want to add to this map page, and I want to make sure that I have all of the information on the outside that I'm going to need. So I really just need to play more before I can add more to this page, but overall, I'm very happy with it. But yeah, I just printed these onto an adhesive, I just printed it onto matte sticker paper, essentially. Oh, bye, cat. Yeah, I just printed it onto matte sticker paper and stuck it straight on. Just regular sticker paper. It was very easy to do. Highly recommend it for anyone who wants to try the same thing, just using a regular printer. I have a fancy sticker printer because I actually run a sticker store. The link to that will be in the description as well. I do D&D stickers and RPG and fantasy stickers, so I already had all of this set up, but you might not have quite the same thing. But it is very easy to do. You can just grab some scissors to cut around it. You don't need the fancy cutting machines that I have or anything like that. Very easy to put together. Alright, so let's jump over again. We jump to our episodes at a glance. You might remember these from the player journal that we set up there as well. I just did the same thing here. I really like having them segmented into specific places. For Natalie's journal, I did them as they would be filled out as we went along, but I didn't actually find that was all that useful because I felt bad when I wasn't utilizing space, whereas this way keeps us in a small little space, and if I need to write more, I can just add it onto the bottom on a little post-it note or something like that. It'll be fine, I guess. I hope. But yeah, I like how it looks. That's the important thing. And I am really happy with what it looks like and going ahead what it will end up looking like as well. But it's fairly straightforward. It'll be using the key that we determine later on. I'll just add little parts here of the most important things that happen in each session and then fill it out from there. And then, from this point on, we go into the first episode. And that will be a future video, but thank you so much for sticking by with me for the moment while I go through with this. So, that, oh, you can hear that crinkle. That is our DM's bullet journal for D&D. I hope that you've enjoyed this video so far. I hope that it's given you everything that you wanted. I know so many people ask me about the DM's version of the D&D bullet journal, and I'm so grateful to have given this to you. I just want to say quickly as well, I'm really sorry about taking such an extended break. 2021 and 2020 sucked. They really did. They were the worst. And I'm so grateful to have started this D&D bullet journaling adventure with you all, and now I am fully ready to get back into it. I will actually start streaming journaling videos on Twitch as well if it's something that you want to see. I have all of my links below at Burrows Red, and I'll be posting a lot more content over on TikTok and Instagram as well. And plus, I've got Burrows Arts, the stationery store and sticker store and such to kind of fill out this journal and add in all the essentials that we'll need as we go along. But I really just wanted to get this out to you all and just go, hey, look at this cool thing. Look, I have it all designed. I've done a thing, I promise. So hopefully that means enough to you all as well. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to me, especially if you've gotten this far. And I can't wait to do the next video soon. Alright, thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.